Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of the Galaxy Pack Air Poll. And we just went through Nova and Equinox's puppies, so now we're going to go through Andromeda and Orion's puppies. Now, Andromeda and Orion did not have quite as many puppies survive as Equinox and Nova did, but they did have, I believe, 13 of their puppies that made it through. Yes, 13. So we will be looking at those puppies now. So starting in litter 1, we actually had all 4 puppies survive, and we have Tapio, why are you above Andromeda? You're from the previous litter. I'm sorry, but you're not supposed to be here, Tapio. Tapio is intruding. Alright, but for the beginning of for the first litter we have Moose, Aurora, Ares, and Comet. So first off we have Moose. Now Moose is huge. Moose actually has 80% strength, which I think is the most out of any of our wolves. I think he's even stronger than Hercules. He has a very deep howl. And he has the brown coat again with a little bit of a darker brown tint. Kind of brown like a moose, a little bit lighter, and then he just has a normal body. Now, Moose's challenge is that he must investigate every moose he comes across, and if the conditions are decent, so like, if victory seems plausible, he must attempt to hunt. So like, if there's carcasses to eat from, and if it looks like we could potentially take out the moose, he has to at least try. His ability is that for every moose that he brings down, he may rescue a puppy from death, and that can stack indefinitely. So if he kills a bunch of moose, he can save a bunch of puppies, so that could be a pretty powerful bonus if he can handle hunting them. He is quite strong, but he's not all that fast either. Next up we have Aurora, who is a lot smaller. She actually has one of the original WolfQuest coats. She has this gray one, and it's fairly light. She has only 20 strength, 60 stamina, and 70 speed. Here's her howl. And so that is her howl. And then she does have this bent ear. Now, Aurora has a little bit of a different challenge in that her challenge is that actually her puppies tend to come very early when it's still cold, and because of that, we have to roll to see how cold it is. So the day may be mild, which has a 3 of 6 chance, cold, which has a 2 of 6 chance, or freezing, which has a 1 of 6 chance. If the day is freezing, then each puppy has a 3 out of 6 or 1/2 chance of freezing to death. But Aurora's ability is that she may go to the little butte each episode prior to the journey to gather moss to line the den. If she manages to line the den with moss before a freezing day, the chance of a puppy dying drops down to 1/6. And in addition to that, she may play her last year on Arduous instead of on Bring It On, because that'll help accommodate her having to journey to the butte. It'll make it a little bit more possible. And then her side quest is that if she manages to line the den with moss every single day while she's there, her puppies will get stronger, and by the time they leave for the journey, their chance of freezing to death, if we have a freezing day while they're out in the open and not at the den, will drop down to 2/6. So, Aurora has a little bit of the random generators coming into play. We could have a lot of danger if we're not careful here, but at the same time, we could get pretty lucky. So hers is a little bit of a gamble. It could be kind of an interesting challenge to play around with, and to just see what happens. And next up we have Ares. So Ares, not to be confused with Ares, has a notched ear, and he has 55% strength, 60% stamina, 35% speed. Let me play his howl. So that is his howl, and he is a very red wolf. Now, he actually has this dark gray coat, but he has it all the way to the red, so he's kind of a dark red wolf. And his challenge is that he may hunt for the journey, but while he's still at the den, he must rely entirely on food from the cattle ranch to feed his puppies. And his ability has 2 parts. So firstly, he's able to rescue 1 puppy per litter from what would have been a fatal predator attack. Secondly, he can make a save point before leaving for the cattle ranch, and if a puppy dies before he returns home, he may reload the save to rescue them. That can be used indefinitely, but expires as soon as he reaches the den, and it doesn't protect him from dying at the cattle ranch. So if things go wrong, he could still die. His side quest is that if he makes 10 successful trips to the cattle ranch during a single litter, he gains a chance to rescue himself or any other packmate. It doesn't stack, though. It resets only when he uses his chance up and then starts again from 0. And they don't carry over between litters. He must start from 0 at the beginning of each year unless he has already earned a rescue opportunity. So if he gets an opportunity in one litter and doesn't use it, he can carry that ability over to the next litter. But if he only makes 7 successful trips to the cattle ranch, he has to start over from 0 the next time. The next time he starts a litter. So it's a little bit of a complicated ability, but again, kind of a different one than what we're used to. And finally, for the first litter, we have Comet. So here's Comet. Comet has a radio collar, and he actually has this light gray and slightly reddish coloration, a little bit of that from his dad. And he has 30 strength, 50 stamina, 70 speed, and let me play his howl. So that is his howl, and then of course he has this radio collar which indicates that he was captured by researchers, and a collar so they can track his movements and keep an eye on how he's doing. And Comet's challenge is that he must complete each winter hunt in under 1 hour. So what that'll mean is that I record the entire winter hunt and then play it back with a timer so that you guys can see how much time has gone. And then at the end of that hour, he must stop hunting immediately, although he can kill the elk he's currently hunting. So he can't go kill another one, but he can finish up with whatever elk he's currently hunting. And that may not sound like that big of a challenge, but do keep in mind that the hunting montages you see in a lot of the beginning episodes, that's between an hour to 2 hours or even more of hunting. It is quite lengthy, and so especially if we end up at a further den, it could be a little bit problematic. And his ability is that he may play 2 years on pretty easy and then 2 years on challenging, so he has a lot better of he's got a lot easier of a life than a lot of the wolves have had. So that concludes the first litter, and we will move on to the second one. So the second litter was where we actually lost to the puppies due to that whole river fiasco and then a very, very scary bear attack. And so the 2 surviving puppies are Ottava and Jupiter. So Ottava has this torn ear. She's a very brown wolf, and she's actually completely balanced. And this is her howl. So that's what she sounds like. And then she has this scarred coat, so she had a run-in probably with a bear. And she was right there when she and her pack mates were attacked, and her brother was actually killed by a bear. So her challenge is that for every time she has to cross a river with a puppy, she has to roll a dice for 50-50 chance of panicking halfway across because she was caught in a flooded river. And if she panics, she has to turn around halfway through the crossing and run back to the starting shore. She then can attempt the crossing again, but she has to roll unless she actually does lose a puppy in the process, in which case she can continue on. But she does have a chance of panicking when she tries to cross the river. Now, we usually only do have to carry 1 puppy across because usually the mate will carry the rest. But even so, if she panics, it could be rather dangerous. It would add a little bit of an element of risk to the game. And her ability is that after she has crossed the river, she gains confidence for the rest of the journey and may rescue 2 puppies that died predators per litter. Only after she crosses the river for the last time, though. And then her side quest is that if she rolls Rising Water as an annual challenge, she must use the Saddle Meadows Den for fear of having to travel along the river from the Aspen Heights Den. And I've revised that challenge. That was the one that got her in trouble. I've revised it, and I believe it completely blocks off the southern dens now. So that is basically Ottava. And next up we have Jupiter. So Jupiter is Ottava's brother, who also went through quite a bit. He also has some scars. He's got a pretty reddish coat, and then he has a lot of strength, a lot of stamina, and then not as much speed. So let's listen to his howl. And then he does have this notched ear. So Jupiter's challenge is that he has an intense hatred for bears because a bear took his brother, and he must prioritize them over all other predators no matter what the consequences. He must attempt to chase off every bear he sees outside of raising puppies, but if it gets to the point where he's not going to be able to do it, he can still leave. His ability is that if he loses a puppy to a bear, he may reload an autosave once per litter to rescue it. And that is Jupiter. So that concludes the second litter, and let's now move on to the third. So that would be Astra, Gemini, and Cosmo. So Astra actually has this this kind of brownish reddish coat, a little bit reddish. She has 30 strength, 40 stamina, 80 speed. Let's listen to her howl. So that is her howl, and then she actually has this flat ear, so she probably got bit in the ear as a puppy or something, and it did never stand up fully. So her challenge is that she loves the rain and tends to become spontaneous. So if it rains while she's making a decision, like finding a mate or choosing a den, she will automatically jump to that decision immediately and choose the nearest option. So whatever mate is right there, whatever den is right there, she'll immediately jump to choose that. And her, she also, every time it rains, she has to wander for a bit and kind of run around in the rain and get used to that a little bit and be all excited for that, which could be a little bit dangerous if she gets distracted in the middle of something important. Her ability is that if she would have lost a puppy during a rainstorm, she may rescue it by reloading an autosave. Now, that has no limit to how many times we can do that, but given that it rains rather infrequently, it's by no means a likelihood. So next up we have Gemini. So Gemini has a very gray coat. She has 30 strength, 50 stamina, and 70 speed. She actually looks a lot like Kaya. And then let me play her howl. And then she has just the normal body type. So Gemini's challenge is that she was nearly snatched by a bear as a pup, but Nova managed to rescue her at the last second because of one of the abilities that came into play later. You can see all that in the third litters of the Galaxy Pack in Season 3. But she has developed a terror of bears because of them and is afraid to confront them. If a bear attacks her den, or she has to confront a bear outside of raising pups, she must roll a dice to see if she panics, which has a 2 of 6 chance. If she does, she must turn and bolt in the opposite direction, whatever the consequences of doing so may be. After she's run a considerable distance, she may return, and if the bear is still there, she may face it as normal. Her ability is that she's good at using the land to her advantage. When at her den, where she knows the territory, she may rescue 1 puppy per litter that would have died otherwise. So that is Gemini. And then let's go ahead and go back. And last up for this litter, we have Cosmo. So Cosmo has a radio collar. He was captured by researchers at some point and rescued. Actually, Cosmo looks more like Kaya than Gemini did. Gemini looks more like Terrell did. And Cosmo has 30 strength, 60 stamina, 60 speed. Let me play his howl. So he has much higher pitched howl, and then he has this very grayish coat that's still fairly light in coloration. So Cosmo's challenge is that since he watched an eagle take his sister, he's developed a hatred for them. If an eagle attacks, he must drop what he's doing and focus entirely on it until he has chased it away or it leaves, even if another predator is present. His ability is that he gains a bonus while he's in the trees and rather sheltered from attacks from above. If he loses a puppy in a forested area, he may reload an autosave once per litter to rescue it. So that is Cosmo, and that actually concludes the third litter. So last up we have the fourth litter, and we actually had all 4 puppies survive that litter as well. So we have Sirius, Star, Kodiak, and Azeran. So we'll start with Sirius. So Sirius is a very dark colored wolf. Well, he's dark and light kind of at the same time, and he's got a lot of variation. He only has 15 strength, but he has 70 stamina and 65 speed, and let me play his howl. So he has a bit of a rougher sounding howl, and then he does have a notched ear. So his challenge is that he must visit the cattle ranch at least once per litter and successfully bring back food to feed his puppies, which means that he does have to kill the calf. He can't just go there and then bolt. So his ability is that he can survive what would have otherwise been a fatal injury. He may only do this once in his lifetime, however. So if he dies, we have one chance to revive him. If he dies a second time, that's it. So that is serious. And then we have Star, who is a very light-colored wolf. She has a torn ear, and she has 25 strength, 45 stamina, and 80 speed. Let me play her howl. And she has this very light coat. So Star's challenge is that she's very fastidious and may only eat from fresh carcasses. So we can't use carcasses from previous episodes. We have to hunt any food we eat that episode. And she may not journey hunt. So because of that, though, her ability is that she can always play on pretty easy. And next up we have, so that's Star. Next up we have Kodiak, who is very dark in coloration, kind of stark contrast, and then fairly brownish red as well. So he has 60 strength, 60 stamina, and 30 speed. Let me play his howl. And then he does have a notched ear as well. So Kodiak's challenge is that he must chase off 5 grizzlies on Amethyst Mountain before moving on to Slough Creek. And his ability is that he can rescue 1 puppy per litter that would have otherwise died to a bear. So that is Kodiak. And let's go ahead and go back. And finally, we have Azeran. So let's go ahead and we'll hit modify. So he does have this radio collar. He was captured by researchers and they are tracking him now. He has 40 strength, 50 stamina, and 60 speed. Let me play his howl. And he is a very dark-colored wolf with a little bit of a brownish, almost reddish tint. So Azeran's challenge is that he must stay at one of the further dens, either Aspen Heights or the Creek Den, and face the longer journey. His ability is that he can rescue 1 puppy per litter that would have otherwise died on the journey. So even though he has a little bit of a longer journey, he does have some protection there, but it doesn't give him much protection at the den. And that is Azeran. So that concludes our Andromeda's puppies. So we have Moose, Aurora, Aries, Comet, Ottava, Jupiter, Astra, and then we have Gemini, Cosmo, Sirius, Star, Kodiak, and Azeran. So that is Andromeda's puppies. Now, do not forget to vote in the polls that will be in the video description. And don't forget to vote for both polls because we have one for Nova and Equinox's puppies and one for Andromeda and Orion's puppies. So don't forget to check the previous video for that poll as well. And make sure to drop your vote there, and the poll will probably run for about a week. We will have a side story in the meantime. I know this is one you guys have been pretty excited for. I've been pretty excited for, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you guys. So that will run probably for about a week, and then next Saturday we will take a look at the results and see what we have to see. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for being so patient with me as I try to get all this worked out. I know it's taken me a long time, and I'm so thankful to be finally done and ready to roll again with this series. So thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoy what we have in store for next season. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time, but until then, this is Jay, over and out.